Hi, and welcome back to the Save It for Parts channel. Today I'm doing a quick review on the Insta360 X5. This is not a sponsored review. I actually asked these guys if they'd send me a free camera and they never got back to me. So I just went out and bought it myself. And we've got a really interesting trip coming up, which I think will really put this to its test. We've got mountain views, we've got forest views, we've got underwater views, or at least I think we do. So we'll probably throw a lot of that into this video and wrap everything up after the trip and just see what did we think of the Insta360 X5. Now, one thing I noticed when walking around with the selfie stick is that I feel like a complete idiot. I've never really used a selfie stick before. I've never been a vlogger where I walk around with a camera in public, and I just feel like a complete ass. I don't know how big vlogging channels do this. It just is so awkward. I feel like everybody's staring at me. I feel like a complete fool. And so I don't know how much I'm actually going to do this in public. Now, out hiking, walking around out in the forest, doing stuff on a boat or a vehicle, yeah, I can see this being super useful. But in public, in a crowded area, I probably won't do a lot of that. That invisible selfie stick mode is pretty cool for doing stuff like vehicle shots, and it's really neat to be able to see all the way around, reframe your shot later, catch interesting parts of the scene like the sunset or like interesting scenery you pass by, and the super wide angle is really cool too. I am still getting used to all the shooting modes and trying to decide when it's more appropriate to use 360 mode versus single lens mode versus other modes that it has. I'm not quite up on that, so I should have probably given myself a little more time to practice with all the different modes before we went on our big trip. Insta360 review. This thing starts recording on its own and then won't stop recording. We don't know how to make that work exactly, so we're still learning to use it.
With the new memory card.
This is with a new memory card. So I've been using the little 360 here more and more, or at least trying to for various videos, and it's not all fun and games. There are definitely some things about the 360 that I don't like. For example, I just tried to film a bookshelf tour with the 360 because it's good in low light. I wanted to turn off some of the filming lights up here. In fact, I'm going to turn some back on because otherwise the room is super dark without all these lights. And the lights are right up next to the bookshelf. I wanted to use the 360 with that low light thing. The cats are fighting in the background, so that's going to be very distracting. But I don't know, running the 360 along my books is conceptually weird. I can't quite get around it. And the fisheye, I don't like it. There's certain applications that I don't like this. It feels like I kind of have to shift my entire mindset when I'm filming with the 360. I have to get away from the idea of I have a camera and get into my head that I have this all-seeing eye that lives somewhere around me on the selfie stick, and it's kind of hard to frame shots. Like I'll be running around Sandland trying to frame shots with this where that's not how I should be using it. I should just be holding it on a stick like an idiot and I'll frame later. And I've kind of screwed myself up that way where I don't have a good frame later and I don't have a good frame to start with, and it makes things harder to edit in certain circumstances. And that's probably just me figuring out how to use the thing, how to think about the thing. All right, Insta360 X5 test at the sandbar, just in regular quick shot mode. I think we want pure video instead, but we'll see how this looks. Then maybe we'll go back to pure video. This is what a darkish underground room looks like. All right, now we're trying the sandbar in pure video mode. Slightly less dark. I turned on another bar light, but yeah, this is an underground tunnel in pure video on the Insta360 X5. I think this is definitely brighter than it was in just the quick shot mode, so that's something. Let's see, we can look into a really dark alcove here. See what that looks like. Let's send it down a little train tunnel here and try not to bash the lenses into the walls. Yeah, it's about as far as I feel comfortable doing that. Let's send it down the manhole and see what that looks like. We've got the shadow. That looks dumb, but whatever. All right. And then I'm going to do a whole video where we walk around the tunnels of this thing. I don't like doing it this way because you can see the shadow on the wall up ahead. So that's, I got to figure out the lighting to do this. So yeah, this 360 thing is going to take some getting used to. It is a different format for me. It's a different kind of media, so I'm still playing around with it. We've got this, I'm doing this little review. I've got clips from kind of a couple different videos I've shot. We took this thing up to Alaska. Rachel used it quite a bit. I used it a bit. We're both still getting used to things like how fast to move, how smooth to move, what angle to put it at, how low or how high to hold it. There are all kinds of things to consider when using one of these that you don't always think about with a regular camera. So in some ways it's more forgiving because you can go back and reframe your shot. In other ways, it's less forgiving because you're not really thinking about the shot as much, and you might end up missing something because you've got it held somewhere completely ridiculous, or you're moving too quickly, which is what I've noticed myself doing a lot. So yeah, I'm still getting used to the thing, and I like it so far, but yeah, we'll see how well I can integrate this into my existing video process. And I need to learn how to think of this as a true 360 camera, so I can walk around, I can walk away from it, towards it. I'll have to figure out the audio. I know I could hook up my little remote mic to this thing. It might be a little bulky that way, but that's something I could try out too. I know it has multiple microphones around it, and I've been trying to figure out, do I want to hold it with the main mic towards me, away from me? It has side mics. When you put it underwater, all the mics kind of fill up with water, and then it sounds funny. So yeah, lots of things to consider. Yeah, for general use though, it has been pretty cool. It has been fun for getting wide angles of stuff. It's been fairly useful. I've been trying to integrate it into some of my videos. I found it somewhat useful, somewhat not in some of my Alaska videos. Integrating 360 video with regular camcorder video is still kind of difficult and makes it so that I don't use as much of the 360 video when there's camcorder video available. So yeah, all in all, this thing is pretty nice for certain applications. For other applications, not very good, and it does require a huge mind shift or mindset shift to be able to use this effectively and efficiently. I guess the editing software is another thing that has a big learning curve and is still pretty mysterious, like bitrate. What am I supposed to set the bitrate at? Everybody online has a different opinion. The Insta360, the manual has a different opinion. Everybody says something different on the bitrate, so I have no idea what to set that at. It's supposed to be an 8K camera, so I thought I could do 2 4K views, but it seems like you don't actually have that, or it wants to default to HD in the editing software, and when I try to crank it up to 4K, it just looks blurry. So I don't know how to have it set just facing forward and not facing, say, north. Like when I did the Sandland video, I turned it on facing north. I walked around and the video was just always north, no matter which way I or the camera was pointing. So I need some kind of a fixed follow mode that just sticks with one lens but still gives me a 360 view. I'm sure that's in there, I just don't know where it is. So on the plus side, the color balance on this is great. I don't have to mess around with light balance settings or color settings. Like on my camcorder, it's like constantly too blue or too green. With this thing, it's the right color all the time. That's great. The stabilization is great. Yeah, I can just move this around, wiggle it around, and it always stays stabilized. Camcorder here that I'm filming on now is supposed to have stabilization, but it just doesn't really work very well. The wide angle is nice, even if I'm not doing 360. If I just want a wide view of a small room or a tunnel, great option on that. The waterproofing is great. I can literally just dip this in the water. The little mics do fill with water if you do that, and then they sound funny, but you just shake it out and you can keep on going. The lenses seem fairly robust. We have dragged this through pine trees and spruce trees, and I don't see any scratches yet, which is great. And if I do scratch it, we're supposed to be able to swap these lenses. It's also pretty easy to start filming on this. You don't even have to turn on. You just pull it out of the case and you push a button and it just kind of starts up in whatever the last mode was, which is pretty handy. If you do want to get into pure video or photosphere or something else, it is a little confusing to go through the kind of some of the swipe menus, but I figured it out eventually. And again, there's a learning curve with it. If I was using this as my main camera all the time, I think I would get some of those little hoops to jump through figured out a little more quickly. So yeah, overall, I'm enjoying the 360. I am frustrated with it for a few things, so I'm continuing to discover features and settings as I use the Insta360 camera, and not always for the better. Basically with the Insta360, it seems like if you want a 360 video for VR or for modern smart TVs or for YouTube 360 where you can pan around, you'd better shoot it all at once. You better hit record and never stop recording because you cannot stitch those back together. So far, I don't think much of their editing software. It is missing a ton of features. It is not very intuitive to use. And yeah, their Insta360 Studio is kind of crap, unfortunately. And there are a ton of bug reports on the Insta360 forums from people who have the exact same experience as me. They've spent 45 minutes or an hour stitching together their 360 videos. They go to output a 360 video. Oh, you can't do that. And Insta has the same responses to those bug reports for years of just, oh, well, why would anyone want to do that? Maybe we'll look into that feature someday. They know people want this feature and they just haven't done it. I'm also a little frustrated that it just absolutely fills up my hard drive with these 8K videos. But I guess that's just the downside of modern high-resolution videos, is they take up a ton of storage. So that's, again, something I'll have to live with. So overall, am I glad we bought this? Yeah, I think this is a cool little camera. It's definitely a useful tool to add to my video tools. I'm not going to use it as my main or only camera, but I will try to think of more uses for it. I'll try to think of more 360 tours or wide-angle things to do with it, or just more uses to be able to integrate it into my normal videos. If you're interested in purchasing one of these for yourself, I will throw a link down below to Amazon, and that does help out the channel if you buy through my link because it gives me a little bit of a kickback. So I would appreciate it if you are thinking of getting one of these, buy it through my link, and that helps me out. Again, this is not a sponsored review. Amazon didn't give me any money for this. Insta360 didn't give me any money for this. I bought this myself. I would say it's worthwhile, and I would say this is a good one to get if you're wanting to get into 360. If you're wanting to get into low light, waterproof 360, well, this has a lot of great options for that. I'm going to wrap this video up because I think I have babbled on long enough about the thing. Thank you out there to everyone for watching, and we'll see you next time.